Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, hi everybody. We should be live. Just checking the mic. Manny, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's see if everybody can hear us before we start. If someone can confirm that they can hear us. Yes, we can hear you. Awesome, we can hear you. So, welcome everybody. Today we have a very, very special guest. I believe it's his first time. It's the brains behind Energy Web's technology. So, Mani, welcome. I'm super excited to have you online. Thanks for making some time.
Thank you very much. I'm also super excited to talk to you all and giving some announcements to the community.
Awesome. So, Mani, first, before we start, I already get some messages. Mani, show me your hat. So, what do you have there? Is that a new cap? Are we creating merchandise?
Yeah, unleash your worker note.
Awesome.
So it's all the message of the Energy Web X.
Super nice, Manny. So let's talk a little bit about your personal background. Could you tell us a little bit about your road into Energy Web, what you've done before, and what we are doing right now?
Yeah, so of course, I'm from very beginning when I was a child, I loved to be a developer. So my dream was one day to have a computer. So yeah, then I was doing some basic programmings like Quick Basic or GW Basic, and then when I was 16, I think I had like my first professional job. But I have been doing a lot of programmings, and even my hobby was hacking the school grading system for the students, of course, for for the fun. But
You
yeah,
hacked the school grading system for the students?
yeah. Maybe the mistake was I made all of my marks to be maximum. Then that's why I got caught. But yeah, no,
Okay.
it's just a joke aside. But yeah, I love to be a programmer from very young ages, and I started being a programmer when I was 16.
Mhm.
And yeah, all the way up when I did my master's and I started my PhD, I was also a software engineering background. So then it's all came into like joining largest IT corporates like IBM and Oracle as a lead architect or chief architect. I've been involved in a lot of areas which we can talk about.
Awesome. That's super exciting. So, when you joined large companies like IBM and Oracle, what was the general thinking back in the days about blockchain in general?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I was blockchain space was like a new area for me on 2016, 2017.
Mhm.
So my last project, which I accomplished, was I'm so proud of, is the largest healthcare solution across Southeast Asia. It's still operational until today after 10 years in all the hospitals and clinics. And funny enough is like around seven of the team members which worked with me that time to build those, they are still also in Energy Web. So we can talk about it. Yeah, in 2016, 17, when there was like a blockchain, Bitcoin, what they call big hype, I remember enterprises, they were really curious about what is blockchain and how could be they get value out of it in their enterprise business solutions. But I would say it was more like an hype of being worried not to be left behind. So they wanted to make sure they understand what's the blockchain. They wanted to build something with blockchain. But I would say like 80% of the time, they really did not need a blockchain. So because like as we all know, in enterprise business solutions, there are multiple participants involved, different organizations, and all the operations is based on the legacy and legal compliance trust relationship which is among them. So
Yeah.
building a trustless system for companies which already trust each other as of today, it was not really the most efficient use of the blockchain. That's why like in IBM and Oracle, like the focus was more like a blockchain as a service that I was involved in building Hyperledger Fabric based private permission blockchain for enterprises, which it was not really the what do you call the best use case on the blockchain. So as we all know, like on 2018, when there was like smart contracts came into the picture and then Ethereum, and I joined Energy Web on 2019 because I really saw the value in public blockchains. And for me, the most golden, crucial problem to solve was to get enterprises on board with an actual public blockchains or Web3 adoption,
Yeah.
which we can talk about it later.
Yeah, so talking about this challenge that we have right now, the Web3 challenge, what is Energy Web's Web3 challenge in general, and how do we approach those large enterprises to solve their challenges?
Yeah, of course. So one thing which is very important to understand, so the real need for enterprises that they require public blockchains is they would like to have some transparency and some open decentralizations benefit out of their business solutions.
Yeah.
But most of them, they already have very well established legacy enterprise solutions like SAP, like for traceability, for a lot of different use cases, right? So we are not here to rebuild those solutions using a smart contracts on public blockchains. Definitely, it's not going to work. Or replacing the legacy, very well established enterprise databases or data warehouses with like an on-chain storage,
Hmm.
or maybe a messaging with an Web3 kind of messaging. So, but the most important goal is to enable enterprises provide transparency to specific business process of their applications to the public blockchain. And that enables them to gain the trust of the public that, yes, it's not just that me saying this is green, but it's based on these computations that is being done by all these open decentralized nodes around the world that has been considered as green. So
Yeah. And Amani, talking about a public blockchain. So for enterprises, a public blockchain brings its own challenges, right? For example, all those enterprises have their own rules, their jurisdictions, their governance. How are we solving that? Because I can imagine that one enterprise based in a certain region doesn't want to change his whole infrastructure.
yeah, it's a great question. So we had a couple of goals to achieve when we designed Energy Web X. So we can
Yeah.
talk about it afterwards. But one of the most important fact is large corporates or enterprises, they have pretty tough time to do IT procurement for the services which the price is not stable or is based on some inflationary tokens that the price will change
Hmm.
from today or tomorrow. So when they purchase some IT services, they want to be 100% clear of what kind of utilization and how many utilization, basically, how many transactions, how many size of, what's the size of the transactions they can make on the public blockchain, right? So that's one.
Yeah.
The second one, which is really important, is some enterprises they are under legal and compliance what you call requirements that they cannot allow anyone just simply run a validator node for their solutions, right? So we have sanctions countries, or we have a lot of different restrictions like anti-money laundering and all those things. So enterprises, they have to make sure they would be compliant with those, and that's why they would be pretty cautious on like jumping into the public blockchains adoptions. So, for example, we work with one of the big corporates in Australia. So, one of the requirements for their solution was that they would like only validators which are geographically located in Australia. So how do you achieve it with the public blockchain? Yeah, of course, you can do some kind of a network layer, what do you call restrictions, but
Hmm.
it's always the VPNs and work around it. So, but the
Exactly. Yeah.
real solution for this is if you have a KYC for an address of an individual or a company that can join this network as a validator, they can be onboarded as a validators of your solution, and they're geographically located in a specific region. And the same thing applies in the Europe, in the US,
Yeah.
and different enterprises for different kind of solutions they're building. They have different what they call governance restrictions that they have to be complied to. So,
So
and this is
basically,
not possible in public blockchains.
So basically, Manny, what you're saying is the solution needs to be adaptive to the needs of those enterprises because we just can't link everything together
Yeah,
because of
exactly.
rules, regulations, etc., etc.
They would like to specify their governance criteria, who can
Hmm.
actually become an operator, who, what is the validation mechanism, and what are the requirements to join the network, right? What kind of work it need to be done what's the consensus mechanism, what's the slashing criteria, and all those things, it has to be defined, right?
Yeah.
And in the public blockchain world, so you need to basically get open source components and get your hands dirty and build all those things specifically for each enterprise. And that just makes it impossible to be built using all the existing legacy stacks that we see out there.
Correct. So that brings us to Web3 and Energy Web X. So before I want to jump into like what we are doing right now and how Energy Web X works, I want to talk about a little bit. I want to dive into the history. So we started as a custom proof of authority Ethereum-based chain, which obviously a lot of people know. But what led to the design of the Energy Web X structure? So we started with the relay chain. We had some ideas there. Could you bring us through this journey?
Yeah, I think we talk about a couple of points. One is the flexible governance, right? Requirements for enterprise solution.
Mhm.
Second one was to basically staying away from inflationary tokens. So we go towards like paying fiats for procurements of the IT services. And the third, which is really the most important, it was the most important for me to be solved in the Web3 space, was how to actually bring the real involvements of token holders community into enterprise business solutions. Let's face it, let's be honest, like what is the real Web3 enterprise adoptions these days, right? Yeah, specific big corporates, right, does an announcement they're gonna build solution XYZ on a layer one or a layer two kind of platform. Yeah, the hype comes in, right? People jump to buy those tokens. The price will be inflated, right? Maybe 20% goes up or whatever. So this is the enterprise adoption that we see out there, and it's not really sustainable. But the most important problem is there is no actual role for token holders in those enterprise solutions that has been announced that they're going to actually utilize those layer one or layer two. So the golden requirement for me was to solve this. How do you actually bring in token holders community to be able to be participate in an enterprise solution
Yeah.
where
And,
when we
and
are
Mani,
talking
just
about,
to be clear, we don't just bring them in, they are crucial for the system to work, right?
they are the most important elements of being part of this ecosystem. We are nobody, we have zero control over it, right? So when you
Yeah,
have thousands of decentralized worker nodes around the world, right, there is no control from us that we actually can hack all of them and change the logic that is being executed or the process that is being done over there. So
exactly.
even
Yeah.
if it's a cloud, if we are like an owner of one region on AWS, we could do that, but we are talking about the nodes that people running on their computer machines all around the world, and it's soon going to be also on the clouds and also a lot of like a low energy devices around the world. So we have zero control. It's a completely fully decentralized worker node networks that allows a piece of workflow to be executed, and that workflow is required by those enterprises. Why? Because they would like to provide transparency of certain part of their business process that we will talk about. So we have different use cases. Green proof. So in green proof, you have multiple use cases that enterprises would like to have transparency. How the issuance is being done, based on what? Or when
Yeah.
a transfer of an issuance need to be done, or when a retirement of a particular green proof need to happen. So what we see out there is enterprises that run those logics on their backend,
Mhm.
and what they do is they put the hashes on the blockchain and they call it like this is a decentralized solution. Well, it's not,
Yeah.
because you have full control over what is running on your backend, on your cloud services, and how it's being done. And most of the time, if you want to have a data privacy, people don't even have a clue of what was that operation being done, that you achieve that kind of hash that is has been produced. Yeah, I
Exactly.
know we
And
have a lot of zero knowledge and all those things we are talking about. Yeah, but we'll get there. What's the role of worker node network over there?
yeah, but even now, these enterprises basically can't do it anymore, right? We've all seen the new rules, the new regulations. People cannot basically prove their own product anymore. So an enterprise X cannot say, "Hey, we are green" anymore. They need to prove this.
Yeah, exactly. So For us, going back to your question, the proof of authority Ethereum-based blockchains that we have actually started with the team on 2019. I was also part of the team, so it was revolutionary. I was ahead of its time on that moment, but we learned a lot in this space on what are the requirements for these enterprises that we need to help them to get the Web3 adoption. And so those requirements which I mentioned, there are that's what we talk about. There were multiple ways to solve this that we can get into that,
Yeah.
how we come up with this design.
So, Mani, let's talk a little bit about the design of Energy Web X and the concepts then. So, the first thing that was very important, I've heard you saying this many, many times, is transparency and making clarity about design decisions. Can you talk a
Exactly.
little bit? Can you talk us a little bit through? Hey, what were the design decisions? What are the concepts?
Yeah, of course. So it was initially we considered to build a consortia relay chain, right? So
Right.
which it was
Yeah.
like a replica of the Polkadot relay chain, and then we try to build what we call parachains, a specific enterprise-based parachains for that relay chain. So was it a U-turn? Of course not. Or I can ask the same question: was it a U-turn from the Polkadot that they would like to, instead of having a parachain leasing, they move towards a block space? Was the U-turn? Of course not. This
Yeah.
is what happens in the highly dynamic and highly innovative Web3 what they call ecosystem, that you see a lot of techs are building, a lot of talents are coming on board, and you're learning a lot of things every day of how to do the stuff in more efficiently. Of course, an easy solution for us was to copy paste the relay chain and then include it with some parachains for each enterprise. But I can actually explain to you why it was not really a good decision. So first of all, that yeah, we could run a relay chain, but we try to build one particular parachain for one of the solutions we had in Australia. That's where we work with Parity. We use operating envelope partitioning as off-chain workers in Substrate, right? And we try to use it. So it was successful. It's run. But what we realized that if we want to replicate the same thing, and we want to replicate it a lot faster, or if we want to get into the uh, position that companies can actually do it on their own, this is not going to be sustainable way. And also, one of the limitations with that was, yeah, we will just basically create a siloed layer one, and we don't get any benefits of integrations and the cross chains and all the innovations that happening on the Polkadot, right? So we
Right.
were
Yeah.
completely isolated. We couldn't get benefit of all those applications on the Polkadot parachain. And we all know that this para relay chain is still not being what you call fully being utilized or tested or being used out there. So it's still not there. So we did not want to risk our enterprise solutions. But this is something very important to remember. We are not doing a research, right? We are
Right.
not
Yeah.
building what you call hype-oriented Web3 technology. We are building a real tech with the big corporates, and some of the solutions we are building it has been compared with a lot of legacy solutions offerings by Microsoft, by a lot of other cloud providers out there. So Digital Spine, it has been heavily tested for 2 years in Australia. So we cannot just come up and do some explorations with the tech which has not been very well established. It has not been tested. It has not been utilized. End of the day, we get completely siloed blockchain, and we stay completely far from what all the innovations happening on the Polkadot ecosystem. Instead of that, we came into a much better solution. We will get into that why it was become the Energy Web X is so revolutionary and
Yeah.
innovative out there.
Yeah, I think one of the questions that we get often is indeed, why are we not testing this? So I think your point now, I just want to reiterate it again. Energy Web is building software for enterprises. So we need to 100% make sure that everything is bulletproof, that those enterprises, when using it, because using it and scaling it will happen once everything is bulletproof and we are super secure and super confident that, hey, this is it. So right now we have our first open pool on Energy Web X, which is still the alpha phase. Everybody's still testing it out. But that's really the reason why this takes so long, because we simply can't fill. and I know money won't fail. We
Yeah.
really will make it happen for those enterprises.
Exactly. So I mean, once the what we're gonna do this year, we're gonna do a lot better job in terms of external communications. Why we were not being so vocal about it? Because personally, I would like to build the stuff and talk about it rather than talking about it for many years and not having anything. So
Right.
we wanted to build the stuff. We want to make sure it works. We want to utilize it in big solutions that we are working with enterprises out there on the background, being heavily tested. And we have like three auditors. Two of them are the top auditors in the whole Web3 industry, and obviously the most expensive one, which has been auditing the code, right? So we wanted to be make sure we are confident with it, right? We have done all of our homework to make sure there is no risk for the community, for us, and for enterprises. And then we go and talk about it. So this year is all around creating awareness. What is Energy WebX? What is why it is so unique and revolutionary, and why it actually creates a new era of Web3 adoption for enterprises.
Awesome. So, Mani, let's talk a little bit about some of our applications and why they are so important for the Energy Web ecosystem. I think one of the applications we have announced is SmartFlow. You
Yeah,
might, yeah, go on.
let's talk about some of the very crucial concepts in Energy WebX, right? So, what is a smart flow? So, just like smart contracts, that they're a piece of codes that it would be getting executed on Ethereum virtual machines, right? Smart flows, they are flow-based programs. So you can actually develop a logic using a code. You can write a code in different kind of programming languages. You can develop it in Rust, Golang, Java, or whatever, anything. Or you could actually use flow-based programming. So there are lots of tools out there, and one of them which also being utilized in IBM and a lot of other SaaS, software as a service, is like a Node-RED, right? There's thousands of plugins and libraries being created for it. Is also another one, NHN, and we also considering like a Dockers, right? So what is a flow-based programming? Basically, it allows enterprises to quickly do a drag and drop and build integrations with existing legacy infrastructures and applications and APIs and whatever they have. So no matter whether you have a database, you have a messaging, you have any way that you can get the data into the worker nodes, you can actually do a drag and drop and build these flows. So these flows is a JSON file that it describes what the worker nodes need to do in order to perform that operation. So yes, this is exactly what it is, right? This is a node-RED flow that enterprises can do a drag and drop and build this, right? And we also created our own custom nodes for it. So if you go to the next slide, so the custom nodes at the right is basically specifies, yes, submit this to the Energy Web X for reaching consensus, or if you receive the consensus events. Or you can also perform some interactions with Ethereum smart contracts or listen to the events, or the same thing with Energy Web Chain, right? You can also, after consensus being reached by the worker nodes, you can trigger to send some XCM message across Polkadot, right? And there are lots of other features that you can do. So you can also implement that after consensus from all the worker nodes, you can actually update a certain state on chain or not. So that's what it is for a smart flow. So a smart flow
Mani,
is an easy way.
one question here. So we are looking at the at one of the example flows here. Do you need to be a developer to do this, or did we make it that easy that, for example, a business dev can jump in, create this logic by drag and dropping, and execute this? How
Yeah,
does
it's a
that work?
very good question, Daniel. I'm glad that you asked this. So there are certain tools out there. It's completely no-code environments, right? And is also being offered by a lot of big corporates out there as part of their SaaS offering. So which allows you to build applications without writing a code. That has a
Right.
good and bad side of it, right? What's the good side of it is, yes, you do not really require someone who is a highly trained developer to build this. You can have a business analyst to be able to perform that, or somebody who is really advanced enough to be able to understand the integrations between different components of the system. but it also comes with shortcomings. The shortcomings is sometimes you really need to build some custom code into that. So, and some of those tools, they just simply does not allow you to do that. But this is not the case over here in SmartFlow. You can do any kind of custom nodes over there. You can build your own logics. You can write it in any programming languages like a Python or Java or whatever. And you can also utilize all the node modules, which are all the open source Node.js modules that you can utilize within your flows out there. Of course, we have certain kinds of automated audit mechanisms that I think we can get into that later on. And it allows like enterprises after creating this would be audited by an AI-enabled audit mechanism on top of the manual audit that they can perform. And this can be pushed into their desired worker nodes out there.
So, Mani, are you saying that there is an audit mechanism that we have built which includes AI? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people are talking about the hypes in the space out there, especially in the Web3, right? So we all know in certain duration of time what is the hype. So it was certain time it was like smart contracts. After that, it was like I don't know, NFTs or whatever.
NFTs.
And
Exactly.
recently, people are talking about the AI, right? But you can't really do an highly what do you call CPU intensive operations of the AIs on the smart contracts or on any kind of on-chain mechanism. You can do off-chain workers, but Energy Web X worker nodes you can build 100 times faster, right? So and you can reach to thousands of the nodes. You can specify what is your requirements for those nodes to be able to operate that just by defining it in a UI. We can get into that later. And so basically, you can go 100 times faster.
Awesome.
So we are building, yes, we are working. I do not want to spoil all of your announcement, Daniel, but we are working with one of the biggest enterprise AI companies that being building AIs and being pushed into worker nodes. So yes, decentralized AI for us is just a matter of creating a smart flow. For a lot of companies and projects out there, yes, they need to build whole new tech stack and whole new layer one. But for us, it's not going to be sustainable enough to get a good number of enterprises being on top of it. It's
Right.
just so difficult to be built.
So, Mani, let's go through SmartFlow if you don't mind. Let me just share. I don't know. Yeah, you can see it. So, Mani, what are we seeing? What is this?
Yeah, so as Energy Web, we develop a lot of open source toolkits and SDKs in the past, right? All of my colleagues, a lot of developers we had on board, they have done a lot of job to build those. But what was really missing that when we talked to these enterprises, they wanted to go a lot faster to build the solutions. And most of the time, what we built was quite very similar, right? So we put a lot of open source components together, and then we build a solution for enterprises, right? But as a software engineer, you know that if you're repeating the same thing more often, it means that you can actually build something more generic, right? So the SaaS offering is where a lot of companies are moved towards, right? So a lot of big corporates moved from what they call local applications or as what they call softwares that is running on the backends of enterprises into the SaaS.
Yeah.
So we also believe SaaS is the missing piece for the Web3 adoption. So why we come up with this is this is Energy Web Launchpad. Any companies can actually subscribe to this. Of course, this is open to members right now, but another 1 or 2 weeks time after all the audits and all those testings being completed, we're gonna open it up completely public. So what is Energy Web Launchpad? It's a complete SaaS offering. Enterprises can actually use credit cards or they can subscribe to it, any kind of methods, right? And pay with fiat. And they can actually start to build their solutions there. So what are the solutions they can build? It's very crucial to understand. Is that they can actually govern a new green proof solution. We have green proof as a service. So it's no longer need for you to come and talk to Energy Web and we build all these components together to build for you. So we can get into those green proof and digital spine. But the most important topic today is smart flow. So they go to the smart flow. They would like to build their own flow, basically their own kind of Web3 integrations, right? So they can choose different kind of templates out there, right? So one of the templates we have 24/7 matching. We also have EV rewards. we have a lot of other templates that we are working on. And when this thing is going to be open source, right? Not the SaaS itself, but the libraries that enables you to build your own templates, you can actually get your own template being published over there. So after you choose a template, and you can actually start to drag and drop and build your smart flows. If you go to the next slide, I think, yes. So this is the explanations about the template that you can choose. And then on the next slide, if you go right, yeah. So when you created your flows, basically you have defined the logic. You specified, okay, I want to get data from these, what they call backends. I want to also get some data from Bitcoin network, some Ethereum smart contracts, different kind of sources, right? And so that has become your logic. You have specified your logic, you have pushed this into an IPFS, and you have some hash of it over there. So that is your smart flow. So what the next step is to make the smart flow appear, and you basically create a network of it. Basically, you create your own subset of your public blockchains within among thousands of decentralized nodes.
So, Mani, let's pause here. So, and correct me if I'm wrong. So, an enterprise joins Launchpad. They can pay with whatever credit card, whatever works for them. They create their flow or integrate their current logic, connect it to the APIs they need. Super flexible, super simple, and then they have a smart flow. That's where we are right now. Correct?
Yes, we have a smart flow, but it's not yet a worker node network.
Okay. So now we are going to make a worker node network out of smart flow. Just for everyone that's asking, hey, can we get a recap? That's your recap. Okay, Mani, go on.
So you created your flow, you have defined the logics. Instead of building a Solidity code to create a smart contract, you specified all your complex logic. It could be anything. It could be an AI integration. It could be producing some image or coming up with some text, or it could be producing a hash of a large data set. Of what we have currently in the production is we have thousands of the instructions being dispatched by DNSPs, and they need to reach, after partitioned, they need to reach different kind of aggregators. And those instructions is for aggregators to know that they can specify the functionality of the DER assets, energy devices, right? So the partitioning of it is quite a CPU intensive work, but it's very important that this remains decentralized and it's transparent, right? Otherwise, aggregators could actually raise a question that maybe it was not fair that it was done completely centralized. Maybe it was in the favor of some of the aggregator. So this was one of the examples. So here is where you define a worker node network. And it's just as easy as having a wizard. You define what's the name of it. This is basically a name of your solution, right? And then we also have a page. I don't know if you have the screenshot or not. You can define a consensus mechanism, right? What is the criteria for the worker nodes to join the network, right? Do you want to allow anyone in the world, or you want to allow certain people in certain geographical location? We're also working with the KYC partner to be able to allow us to do a proper KYC. So it's not going to be just a drop down, you select that where you're located. Of course, that's the placeholder we have in the app right now, but it's going to be a proper KYC. Certain companies, they would like to have operators only in Europe, right? So they can actually verify the addresses, and after that, only those operators can actually join the network to be able to run those operations. So you do not have the screenshot here, but you can just specify the requirements, the slashing requirements, consensus mechanism, the reward criteria, and what is the performance rewards, and you can also specify a base reward. It's very important to understand what is the difference between these two. We can get into that later. And that's the only thing you need. After you press that button, this solution will get deployed on EnergyWeb X, and it would be pushed into thousands of the nodes which are operating around the world. And it's the, what you call, is a dream come true for a lot of enterprises, right? So they can build their applications 100 times faster. So now the question is this faster than building your own custom substrate-based chain, and then you try to build a parachain and then connect it to a silo relay chain? Of course, yes, right?
Of course it is, yeah.
And it's that is what we are building this for enterprises. And what we happened that in the past 6 months, when we go and talk to these enterprises, we talk about all the offerings of EnergyWeb. But what they come up with, they say, no, I only want this one because I can just build it myself, or I can actually get some help from you to build this. And we are also going to open it up to entire community to build all this. So it's not just going to be for enterprises. Anyone who is willing to be involved, they can actually become a creator of solutions on Energy WebX.
Yeah.
So there are a few concepts. If you want, we can go through worker node operators and all those.
Yeah, let's go through those in a second. So, Mani, obviously, your question was very, very valuable. Is this faster than building a parachain? Yes, because otherwise the company needs to get a bunch of developers, build out the whole parachain and everything that comes with it. They need to audit it separately. And one, the cost is more, obviously, the time is more, the resources. And this is just plug and play for them, right?
Yeah, and this is basically a true innovation in the Polkadot ecosystem, right? We allow integrations with any of the palettes on any other parachains in the Polkadot ecosystem using drag and drop, and nobody has done something like this before. And you can get those logics being executed not by us, not by collators, right? Of course, we will talk about how we fully decentralize Energy WebX and the collators in coming year. But yeah, it's going to actually be executed by all these token holders around the world. And those token holders, they don't have to eye on announcements for the token price to go up. They can actually rather do the actual work for these enterprises, and they get paid from the money that is being paid by those enterprises to perform those work.
Perfect. So Maya, let's go through some of the terms, because obviously we have some terms and nobody within the Energy Web organization can explain it better than you. What is a worker node operator?
Yeah, so for me, operator is any human, right? Anyone who holds Energy Web token out there, and they would like to be participate in getting involved in performing these what they call worker node executions, right? Operator is a human, a person. It can be KYC. They also have digital identity. They can delegate executions of the work logics to a worker node machine, which we will get into that.
Which we will get into in a second. So then we have obviously the Energy WebX marketplace application.
Yeah, this is a very good question. So what we got there, so we know smart flow. What is a smart flow? We know what is the worker node operator. Basically, every single person out there. Worker node is basically every particular machines. It could be any type of machines. It could be even this type of machines that we are working with, like small devices, or it could be these kind of devices. These are all the stuff that we are working on. We will
also, Mani, pause here, because you showed it before. I wanted to make a big thing out of this. But for everyone watching right now, Mani and I have been working on machines. Mani, maybe it's better for you to explain. But do you mind showing the machine for a couple seconds? Because I've already messages. Hey, can we see it? Hey, I want to take a screenshot. What have you been building, Mani? What are we experimenting with?
Yeah, so the goal is to be able to, of course, running a desktop application is not the most, it's not the best use of what you call your computer, right?
Obviously, yeah.
So we are working with some Chinese manufacturers. We are also experimenting with a lot of kind of devices, some devices like these, which are low energy kind of servers that you can run at home. It comes with different sizes and different specifications. I don't want to spoil all kind of your announcement, but we are working with some hardware, what you call manufacturers. We try to make sure we build it together with the secure elements that it can actually hold the private keys of the worker nodes over there. And we also going to come up with something very unique, which is a mobile application which allows operators to just link their identity with the worker nodes that is running. So the worker node does not have to be a desktop machine or connected to a monitor or a TV. They can just plug it. And this is not just some dumb device that's performing the work, but it also can integrate with your home assistants to perform some useful work. So we will talk about all those later.
Oh gosh, Mani. So how does this work? You have a mini computer, you plug it in, it will start performing logic for your node. You have your app, you can connect it, see the dashboard, what it's doing. But the cherry on top is this device can also interact with your home, whatever smart devices you have.
Yeah, so I do not want to spoil a lot of things that is coming up. We will talk about it once we go further, but this is a concept. So that's where the open source is the most crucial part, and why we have not open sourced the components that are 100 of repositories that we have. is not yet being opened, right? We're going to open it after the audit is being completed. It's very crucial to get community to help us to grow this faster, right? And we will talk about this, the decentralized grants and all those things later on. So you asked a question about the marketplace application. I can say that I'm so proud that this is the first of its kind in the Web3 space. And I'm so glad that some people call it, yeah, this is just another staking application. And I'm so glad because this just is proven that we make it so easy and so user-friendly for running a worker node, spinning it up, downloading the logic, performing execution, submitting the votes into the blockchain and for the consensus. We encapsulated all the difficulties and complexities in the way that these people just think this is a staking application. This is perfect. This is exactly what we wanted to achieve. And this is exactly what the Web3 space is lacking. That's why it's so difficult to run those blockchain nodes. And you cannot just allow your father or your mother or your grandma to be able to run it. But this is not the case for the Energy Web X marketplace. So this is not just a staking application that you stake your tokens or lift and lowering. This includes all the logics required for you to subscribe, to run the execution environments for the worker nodes, to have those logics being persisted, to perform the work and report it back to the blockchain and keeping track of all those things. So this is a very complex piece of software. And we have around like 10 people from the team who is just working on this. That's why it was so important for Energy Web to partner with big companies out there, like, for example, Aventus Network, right, or Zeev. This allows us to go a lot more faster and build a lot more unique applications that it was basically not possible before. So we will talk about the development resources later on. So, but this is about the application.
Awesome, Manny. Let's go back a little bit. We dwelled off. So we were talking about, let me just pull it up again. This is the slide where we are right now. So we created Smart Flow, and now we are going to create our worker node network. We defined. Go on.
If you see the color is different. So this is the SaaS environment. So we have two SaaS environments that is coming up. One is allows you to build smart flows and worker node networks from an enterprise, and also run Greenproof as a service and also Digital Spine as a service. That's one side. So it's more about the products of Energy Web, right? This is more about the infrastructure. So with this, we allow anyone or any company or any individuals to be able to run validator nodes of Energy Web Chain. And we are not running it on our own cloud. We also have bring your own cloud option as well. Also collator nodes for Energy Web X. We also have like a full nodes or RPCs for Energy Web Chain. And one which is very important is the worker nodes. So you can also run server-based worker nodes over there and link it to your identities, and those can perform the work. So you don't have to keep your desktop application open. But these are all coming up in the stages. In 2 weeks' time, we're going to open it, the first version out there. But end of Q3 is going to be with all the features fully public. Yeah, next slide just explains that you can do your own cloud. So you can basically create or use your own AWS cloud to create a worker node. So what we have all the logics to automatically spin up the collator node, validator nodes, worker nodes of Energy Web X on your cloud account, and you don't have to do anything, basically.
So basically, when you click on deploy, everything will happen in the linked cloud account. You don't need to go there, set up stuff. It's just click and play.
Exactly. Blockchain infrastructure as a service.
Awesome.
One thing I would like to mention about the solutions and solution groups, it's a very important concept I would like to talk about, right? So we talk about the worker node networks, and then solutions that you build. But what is a solution group? So solution groups is a group of a lot of smart flows, right? That companies can actually specify the KYC requirements, the onboarding requirements, the rewards, the slashing, and all those kind of requirements. And it would be allocated with certain funds that it would be distributed to the operators, right? So how those funds would be transformed from the fiat into tokens, we'll talk about it in all the upcoming calls that we're going to have. But what is very important is those solution groups are having a pool that people can stake against running those worker nodes, but they have to run the worker nodes. Currently, we have base rewards that's going to be diminished soon because we want to make sure the what you call the application is very well stable, right? So you will get rewards for being able to perform those work. We're also going to introduce a slashing, right? If an enterprise requires. So if your node goes down and it's always down 90% of time, you might be slashed with certain amount, but yeah, it might not be, but it's gonna be pretty significant amount of rewards coming up soon because all the infrastructure basically going to rely on the worker nodes.
Awesome, Mani. So, Mani, I want to spend a little minute about our team and the developers. So, we have been getting quite some questions also in the past about the size of our development team, how large is our development team, are we expanding, and also about um, our solutions that are published on what is it, GitHub, and is this open? Why is it not open? What's going on there?
Yeah, it's a very good question. And as you all know, we have a lot of repositories which are not yet open, right? Why? Because we are still working on it. We also have consultants about the licensing and commercial considerations that we're going to have because we have our SaaS model and we're also going to have open source. So we have to be careful what we're going to be open source and what's going to be in the commercial model, right? So that takes time. We also have auditors that is going to complete the audit, and then we're going to open source the components one by one. So we have huge number of repositories. There are private. We're going to make it open eventually soon, right? We're going to announce by when which repository going to be open. But in terms of number of developers, yeah, it's pretty interesting question. We have definitely much bigger team, but they are all what they call scattered across not just Energy Web, but also Aventus and the Zeev, right? Why we did it this way? Because we wanted to be a lot faster in building our own core focus oriented products like green proofs, digital spine, worker node networks, and that was simply not possible. It was really not possible to just go and hire like a 10 what do you call highly experienced Rust developers and architects to new parachain. Need to do a training for them, need to explore a lot of things, unknowns in the tech. So the best way for us was to go and partner with Aventus Network, which they just launched their, at that time, they just launched their own parachains. It has been audited. But the most important factor is they had the functionality that we really wanted. So they had their own ERC20 token on mainnet Ethereum that it was supposed to be the token for their parachain.
Correct.
We also
Yeah.
wanted to do the same. We do not want to create a new token. The token is on Energy Web Chain. We wanted to have the same token being utilized
For the
in this
different chain.
parachain that we are building. So Aventus was our partner. They have a huge team. They're specifically working on our requirements, but the architects and the project managers on us. Same thing applies to the Zeev. That is our partner to build the software as a service platform. They have also a big pool of developers that they are specifically highly trained, highly experienced to build software as a service platform and blockchain infrastructure as a service. So it was a lot of work for us to learn about it, to hire people to have those skill set. We rather try to focus on the areas that we were niche and we were unique in that, and we had a lot of years of experience, which is Greenproof, Digital Spine, and also the Energy Web X worker nodes. If we did not utilize this kind of program, we could not get something like desktop applications that you see out there. So the team of developers definitely is bigger, right? But I would say active development. When the repository is going to be open source, you're going to see the huge number of commits and the lines of code that has been involved to build all this application. It's just not visible now, but it's there. So eventually it's going to be open source and all the questions is going to go away.
Awesome, Mani. So let's talk a little bit about the planning now to open source things this year and by when. So 2024 is a big year for Energy Web, as you said. What can we expect in terms of the development side?
Yeah. So first of all, we have a a new hiring pool that we would like to hire. We have a lot of EU projects that we have been engaged. Specifically, we need to build worker node networks for them. Um, we also just got on board a Web3 community growth lead person.
Correct.
We also just onboarded a chief commercial officer, which is with over 25 years of experience in large corporates and successful track record of selling software as a service. Right? We would go out quite aggressively and in all those areas in the Web3 ecosystem. We want to be present in all those communities, the seminars and conferences, and talk about what is Energy Web X, what it has been built, what is software as a service we build, and the same thing on the commercial side, right? So 2024, we started this already. We hired new people for this, and we have a pool of developers we need to hire to build worker nodes on Energy Web X for new projects that we have got engaged.
Exactly. Yeah.
But there's pretty significant and important things that is coming on. Yeah, I can spoil some of your marketing announcements.
Go for it, money.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we are building is something pretty unique in the Web3 space, right? We're going to build the first fully decentralized grant program. So what does it mean? We all are familiar with the grants that is out there, right? There's a certain number of tokens allocated. There is an open governance. There's a certain project or certain individual or company will be selected to give out certain number of tokens to build certain stuff, right? But what is the milestones for those payments are pretty manual. So you need to actually report what you have done. You provide maybe a GitHub repository, a report, or launch the application. And there would be a manual process on the background to verify that and release your funds for you as your grants. This is not the case over here. We're going to launch a fully decentralized grants program. We're going to allocate 14 million community fund tokens, whatsoever, any amounts that it would be approved. So that would be allocated for the grants that allows Energy Web X to build a lot of efforts around decarbonizations, right? It would be allocated to any kind of efforts that it would be approved by the open governance. Like, for example, building a green proof for certain use case, right? And how the payments of those are being done. So after you have been identified that you can be allocated, the fund will be automatically on-chain, goes into a specific solution group. You see out there in the marketplace, you have, for example, green proof for EVs, green proof for Bitcoin. It would be your own solution groups. You build your solutions on top of it. You can onboard the operators. This could be a company, but it could be also an individual. And those milestones, it could be like this. For example, you hit certain number of operators. You hit certain number of staked security tokens on your solution group, or you hit certain number of transactions after some time. Those amounts will be automatically unlocked to the solution owner and also all the operators. So this is going to be a fully decentralized grants program. We're going to start to build it in Q3. But we are going to actually open it up, all the applications in the Q3 as well. And this is completely unique in the Web3 space. I've not seen a fully decentralized grant, but we're going to actually do this to show that there is nothing hidden. And Energy Web is fully committed to do all the efforts to go towards its mission.
Yeah, in a decentralized manner. So, Mani, just to summarize this, so we are working on a grants program where everybody is able to do something in a decentralized manner. The rewards will go towards an Energy Web X pool or something in there. There will be certain thresholds, like, hey, you need to onboard certain people. You need to reach a number of EWT here to make the chain more secure, and then those things will be the rewards will be unlocked. Goes to the builder here. And we are basically, so the call to action here would be everyone who wants to build, everyone who wants to be involved. We are working on it. Everyone who has ideas, we will be pushing out an announcement in the coming month for everyone to reach out to us as well, because we want to build it together with everyone.
Yeah. And it's very important to remember it's not just Energy Web alone there, and it's not just Energy Web tokens from Community Fund is there, but it's also we are onboarding very big corporates and venture capitals that they would like to fund all these efforts. And
Correct.
why they would love this? Because it's completely open and transparent. And what it has been built and how it has been built and what it has been operated for how long by who, and is every single thing is transparent, and all the milestone payments is also going to be fully decentralized. So
Correct.
there are lots of things happening in the background. There are multiple buckets of the pool grants money that is coming in, that it would be allocated to build Energy Web X to the complete adoption, right? So you ask about other stuff that is coming. So we talk about the SaaS and that is upcoming. It's fully decentralized grants, right? There are pretty number of solution groups that everybody sees out there in the AWX marketplace application. So everybody have seen like Greenproof for Bitcoin, right? Greenproof for EV. So what are those? So Greenproof for Bitcoin is we are working with a pretty good number of big miners,
Oh, be
Bitcoin
careful,
miners.
Manny. You need to be careful now, Manny.
Yeah. So yeah. So but it's all around like a decentralized green Bitcoin mempool incentive program. So that is. Uh, going to be offered also to fully decentralized nodes to perform those logics for executions. But um, I cannot mention anything because we are working with some of the biggest players it has been ever been in the Web3 industry. But yeah, after all this thing is being done, all the testing has been completed, and uh, then we can also go for all these announcements. The other one is Greenproof for EVs. Maybe it would be a bit easier for me to explain. So we just closed the deal with two of the players out there, right? So one of them is the biggest EV integrations. And we are also working on the background with some of the EV manufacturing companies to build and basically green charging mobile applications. So that allows any EV owner, because if you are an EV owner, you would like to really not just buying an EV necessarily creates an environmental impact, but also you would like to make sure you charge a vehicle ideally with a green electricity, right?
Correct.
So we are building these applications that allows any kind of EV owners to be able to have those applications downloaded, and based on the green charging sessions you have, you get a certain incentive. So I don't want to go through all the details of all those, but the logic that is being performed for the matching of the charging stations with the green energy status of the grid is being performed also by the worker nodes. So if you see something in the Energy Web Marketplace application indicated as private, it means something is being cooked out there. But is in the private mode, because that's the beauty of the Energy Web X. It allows all those solutions to be in the private mode, means that there are the participants within that group is running the worker nodes for it. But once they have been what they call confident that the
Yeah.
solution is tested, they can actually make it fully open to public. Of course, they have to make it pseudonymizations of the data, so it's not going to be a privacy or GDPR in compliance issue.
Correct. Yeah. So once you see something private, know that they are testing it. They are ready to go live. They're testing it. They're in the last phases. They push the button, and that's what we are waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
Another update for what's coming is I know that there has been already some rumors, but Energy Web will be pushing out a live event at the end of April, first or second week of May, where everyone from the Energy Web Foundation goes live and basically discusses what we have been working on for the past years. So what can you expect? You can expect all our solution owners, commercials go live and talk about literally every application, dive into, hey, what have we done the past years? Where are we right now? What are the milestones and what's coming next? So we will be announcing those one by one from next week. So there will be a separate website where you can see the speakers and what they are going to speak about. But besides NH Web, we are also inviting enterprises to come on stage and basically say, hey, what have they been building the past years? What are they doing? And what's up next? So keep an eye out for these announcements. And also keep, so at the end of April, first week of March, keep some time ready for us. Why? We are hosting multiple panels live on X after each presentation, where you can go live and basically ask your questions to the panelists. This could be the Greenproofs team, this could be the Energy Web X team, this could be the leadership team. So all these will be announced very, very soon. Other than that, obviously, the number one question I've been getting is still, hey, what's up with exchanges? So last year I've been announcing, I basically created a poll with, hey, what are the top exchanges? The reason why I can't name anything, so I also often get the question, hey, Daniel, why can't you just name what's going on? What's going on is we are working with them. We are talking to them. Some of them are in the integration phase. Some exchanges are super fast, happens in 1 or 2 months. Some exchanges need a bit more time because they need to go through all those processes. But the first exchange is coming very, very soon. So that's what I can say on exchanges. What else is coming? The digital spine pool obviously is coming. It's scheduled for May. Money, how are we doing with the digital spine pool?
Yeah, I think everything goes according to the plan. Soon we're gonna have the
Awesome.
final audit report, and we're gonna have the two tasks that need to be completed. One is launching the digital spine pool, and pretty soon is gonna be opening up the lowering as well. But after all the audits is being completed, now we are going the final stages of the audit for the next upgrade that we're gonna have on Energy Web X. So after that's completed, then we are ready to go.
Awesome. And then Mani, last but not least, let's talk a little bit, let's turn a little bit back to the event. So we have been seeing top performers. If you go to the working notes, we have been seeing people who had votes, how many votes, and we have been seeing top performers. So what are we giving away to those top performers in the coming polls?
Yeah, so currently there is no top performers like token payments for the operators of the worker nodes. But what we are working is we are gonna choose certain kind of devices, the Energy Web X box that we can actually giving out to all those top performers in the community. We're gonna select what kind of device it is, and we are testing it. But that would be the price for them. To give out certain number of what you call devices for the top performers. Those
Awesome.
nodes who has been operating for 80% or 90% more at the time because the application relies on this.
Perfect. Yeah. So we will keep everyone updated about how the developments go with all those devices right now. So Mani, you owe the community an update on those, and then those top performers will receive one of the first boxes that have been approved. Other than that, Mani, is there anything else you want to announce?
No, thank you very much. The only thing I would like to mention that this year we would be having maybe series of the tech deep dive events, right? We're
Great.
gonna have the architects from the team is gonna join all these streams and they talk about the tech. We have incredible group of talents on board who has been involved in building all these applications. We would love to talk about the tech, go into the details, reach more like a developer community. We also talk about the open source components that is coming up for building the Energy Web X box hardware devices. So yeah, I think stay tuned for all those kind of tech deep dive sessions that we're gonna have. So that's what we're gonna need to make it happen this year and moving forward from now, not just this year.
Awesome. Very excited, Mani. I feel like we should do this every month or every other month. Let's come online. Let's give everybody an update on where we are on the development side. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We kind of did not pre-announce this event just to see how it goes. And I see you guys on the next one. All right. Thank you, Mani. Ciao,
Bye.
ciao.
Thank you. Bye bye.